Welcome to Not Ashamed. I'm your host, Ashley Nordman. Today, we're going to talk about a situation that just happened to me at my Airbnb when I was in Charlotte. And I just always feel like when these stories come up, I just have to share. And there's always a lesson to be learned from them, right? So we're just going to dive in today. We're going to call it Judgy Airbnb Hosts, because that's exactly what this Airbnb host was. Very judgy. So let's just start the story off with the fact that I rented this Airbnb because I was going to be interviewing a celebrity, and I really liked the way the rooftop looked on the Airbnb. It was really cute. I thought it was going to be a really great vibe. And on the listing, even with like the overview, it just looked like its own little private like oasis, like this little home, kind of like on stilts almost. And like you could park underneath it. And then it had like a studio inside with like a kitchen, living room, bathroom, and like bed, like all in one. And then upstairs, like you go outside and like up these steps, there was like this really pretty like hangout area with like turf, and there was a hot tub and these chairs and this cute little couch area with like a fire pit. And I was like, cool, let's like set up there. We can like record the podcast and be nice and quiet. So I show up to the Airbnb with one of my best friends, and we're trying to get into it, and we cannot figure out why we can't get in. And we're at the front of this building, and we're trying to like use the code. I'm messaging the guy on Airbnb. I'm like, hey, I can't like get in here. So sure enough, he is like, oh, you actually have to go around back and like go through this gate, and then that's where your Airbnb is. And I'm like, okay. So lo and behold, it ends up being a guest house. Like the house in the front that we were trying to get into was the house that the people lived in. And then behind it was a guest house, which was this place that we were renting. And when I say it was like 2 feet away from the house, it was seriously 2 steps from the house. You walk out the back door to the house and there's the guest house right there. Okay, so imagine a guest house like at, you know, the show like Dead to Me, where like she's the home in the front and then there's like a pool and then the guest house is like in the back. It's not like that at all. It's literally a home, 2 centimeters, and then this guest house. So I go to check in and I'm already kind of heightened. I'm like, dang, this is not at all like the listing said. Like literally the listing was so deceiving. It didn't say anything about it being in this guy's backyard. It didn't say anything about it not being like a private place. But I'm like, you know what? It's gonna be fine, like whatever. So we check in, and that first night, I'm already a little nervous about doing my podcast there because the family that lives there literally like goes outside all the time, and they have this tiny little yard directly underneath the guest house that I'm staying in. And they have kids like playing, and they're like doing all these games and stuff. And it was just really loud. And in my head, I'm like, great. Like when I record tomorrow, like this could be like kind of loud. And of course, when I like rented this Airbnb, I didn't think any of this stuff was gonna happen, right? I'm thinking it's gonna be quiet, it's on its own little private place. The listing even said you could do like commercial photos and videos, so I'm thinking like, we're good. I don't have to ask for permission, I can just do this. And I'm gonna be like on this roof where it's really quiet and like serene. No, there's little toddlers running around and all kinds of chaos the first night we're there, and I'm like, oh gosh, this could be like a lot. So the owner ends up calling me because he can tell that I'm having a hard time, because the way the house is, there's like a house in the front, there's a gated fence like on the side, and then you go through the gated fence to get to the back. Well, the gated fence, I could not figure out how to open it from the other side. Like it has a keypad on the one side, but the other side doesn't. So I would like stand over it and like enter the buttons and try to like unlock it, and it would like start opening while I'm standing on it, and I just looked like a total Hoosier. And so the guy like could probably see it on the cameras, and he calls me, he's like, hey, let me help you figure out how to like do this keypad. I'm like, okay. So he tells me there's like another keypad like over by the guest house that you can use, and that's how you open it from the back. I'm like, oh, that's a lot smarter than the way I'm doing it, where I'm like standing over it like when I was on the pasture when I was 5, where you're like trying to open like a giant gate. And so he tells me on the phone, like, you know, if you need anything, call me. Like, this is my cell phone. He was really nice. He was the owner. But when I rented the place, I was doing it through like the Airbnb, which has like a management team, like kind of running it, you know? So I had dealt with the management team originally, but then once I got there, the owner like must have had my information and like called me because he saw me like struggling with the fence. So at this point, I have like 2 different people I can contact, the management team and then like the actual owner. So the next day rolls around, I'm getting ready to film. I have a film crew coming, which is literally just a guy and his assistant. And then I have our guest coming. And so me and my friend Kaitlyn, we're like, we go to the gym in the morning, we go do lunch, we go shopping, we come back. And we're like in our workout clothes, like sports bras and shorts, because it's really hot there. We did Orange Theory and we were like sweaty and nasty. And I go upstairs and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna start getting ready. Like, you do whatever you gotta do, but I'm gonna start getting ready because like the team's coming soon. So she's like still in her sports bra and shorts. I'm getting ready in the shower, whatever. Well, the film crew comes and the guy that like runs the crew, his name's Kendrick, he lets me know that he's here. And I'm like, crap, Kaitlyn, will you like go let him in? Because I'm like half naked out of the shower. She's like, sure, no big deal. So she runs downstairs to go let him in. And she comes back up like 5 minutes later and she's like traumatized. She's like, Ashley, oh my God. I'm like, what? She's like, do not go down there. I'm like, well, I wasn't planning on it. What's happening? And she's like, the owner just freaked out on me. I don't even know what to do. Like, she's like shaking, like she's freaking out. And I'm like, hold on, walk me through what just happened. Meanwhile, I'm trying to get a hold of Kendrick, figuring out like what happened because he's not even down there anymore. I have the management team blowing me up on the Airbnb app. So I knew something went on. I'm like, okay, there's like 10 messages in this Airbnb app. She's flipping out. I don't know where he's at. I'm like, what just went down? So apparently what happened is Kendrick was trying to come in and there's that like fence on the side. So he needed me to like open the gate so that he could come to the back where the guest house is. So as he was trying to call me to ask me to come down and Kaitlyn went down to let him in, the owner was home and came outside and like got up in like his window or something like near his car and was like, what are you here for? And he's like, I'm here for Ashley for like her video. You know, I'm here to film, like we're filming today. And of course I hadn't told this guy because I'm thinking when we originally rented the Airbnb that it was a private place. So I wasn't gonna have to like ask for anything because I didn't think it was in some dude's backyard where he has kids running around. And it said on the listing that you can do commercial photos and things. So I'm thinking like, we don't have an issue here. It's fine. And it was just gonna be a camera guy and the guest I was filming. And it even says on the listing, like you can't have more than 4 people. So I'm like, cool, we're good. There's 4 of us, like we're fine. So anyway, he's like asking Kendrick, like, why are you here? What is this? And he's like, I'm here to film. Like I'm here for Ashley Nordman, blah, blah, blah. He loses it, sees red, and goes, if you're here to film a porno, you're here to film a porno? And just starts going off on the guy. And he's like, whoa, 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 what are you talking about? Like, excuse me? Like, that's where you went? And keep in mind, this guy is like a devout Christian. There's all this stuff in our Airbnb where they're like praying over our trip and praying over us leaving and like all this stuff. So I can tell that he's like very religious. And the first thing he thinks when this dude pulls up is that we're trying to film a porno in his Airbnb. I mean, I found this out later, but like now that I'm talking about it, I'm still just like so annoyed. I just can't believe this. So as he's telling Kendrick about this, Kaitlyn is coming down in her sports bra and shorts because we just got back from the gym and like we went straight from the gym to like walking around and stuff. So we were like sweaty and nasty. She comes down and he looks at her and he's like, so you're gonna tell me what's really going on here? And he's like in her face, interrogating her like he's her father. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, we're here to film a celebrity. Like, that's why we literally rented this Airbnb so we could come to Charlotte and meet someone here. And she's like just being super nice and he's just attacking her. I mean, he's like, yeah, I'm sure. And he's just putting her down and like basically yelling at her and doesn't seem to really believe her. And he's all up in arms. He's clearly thinking like her and I are renting this Airbnb so we can do some freaky shit in his bed in this Airbnb in his backyard. So she finally walks away from him. I don't really know the entire conversation outside of him looking her up and down, judging her, and not even like believing a damn thing she said. And him looking at my videographer and thinking he was here to film a porno. And I don't know. It was so chaotic. It was like a chaotic, like 20-minute thing where he's pissed, she's freaking out. I'm in the bathroom half freaking naked trying to put my clothes on. She comes upstairs, she tells me the whole story. Meanwhile, I'm getting blown up on Airbnb. If you're here to record, like you should have told us and we have all these requirements and blah, 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 blah. I mean, they're going off. So I'm like, listen, I'm just gonna be a man, be a man. Listen, I'm just gonna be an adult and I'm gonna call the owner since I have his cell phone. And yesterday he told me if I need anything to call him. So I'm just gonna call him. I'm just gonna talk to him, tell him exactly what's going on and like, we'll get on the same page.
We'll get back to the podcast in just a moment. This episode is sponsored by AN Skin, your answer for all things skincare and beauty. Our medical-grade products, made in the USA, use high-quality ingredients and are clinically proven to give you clear, healthy, youthful skin. Everything is cruelty-free. Visit anskinbeauty.com to shop now and regain your confidence. Now, back to the episode.
So I call this guy. He is fuming. I can tell. He's on the phone with me and he's like, excuse me, I don't talk to my Airbnb guests. Like, that's not what I do. That's why I have a management team. If you have a problem, you call them. And in my head, I'm like, you literally told me last night, like, if I needed anything to call you. But okay. So now you've suddenly changed your tune. He hung up on me. So I call the property manager guy and I'm like, hey, I am so sorry for whatever miscommunication is going on. I had no idea that it was like this, or I would have let you know ahead of time that I was coming to film. I thought this was a private area where it was just this house. It even says on the listing, it's fine to do commercial photos and things. I mean, I truly am not trying to offend or sneak around or upset anyone. I said, I have a podcast. I'm here to film a celebrity. I honestly could have worked together with you guys and given you guys a shout out and like promoted your business. But now I'm just being attacked for something I'm doing and being told all these insane things that aren't true. And I don't know what to do. Am I going to be able to film here or not? And meanwhile, I've got my podcast team trying to scramble and figure out another option because I'm freaking out. I'm calling them like darn near in tears because I'm so scared. I don't even want to go downstairs and like see this guy because I don't want to walk down out of the Airbnb, see him, see his family, confront them, anything, even though I tried to call him. So the guy goes, give me 5 minutes. I go, okay. So he hangs up and I'm like praying. I'm like, please, dear God, let's all get on the same page here. Because I know in my heart I'm not doing anything wrong. So he texts me like 3 minutes later, not even. And he just goes, all good. And I go, okay, so we're good to film? He goes, yep. I'm like, okay. So I think he messaged me one more time and said, the owner looked up your social media and looked up your podcast and sees what you really do now. And in my head, I was just kind of like, what I really do now? Like just the way they were talking to me just felt like really scummy, you know? So I finally call back Kendrick. I get him in the guest house area. Like he comes up, he sets up, we're getting ready. We end up filming and we having like a great experience. But the whole time we're setting up, like he kind of seemed upset. And I'm like, what's up? Like, are you good? And he's like, I'm just like kind of shocked right now. Like I really am. And he's this young guy, kind of like me. I mean, I'm 31. He's probably around my age, 30s. And he has a film company in Charlotte. And he's a professional. He is Black. He had like I don't want to say like a beanie, but kind of like a beanie thing on his head. And like, you know, he's not wearing like a professional outfit or anything. He's just wearing comfortable clothes because he's going to be standing for hours filming me. And I'm this blonde, 30-something-year-old fitness gal. And I just felt immediately kind of disappointed and just like a little let down, you know, that this guy didn't even try to have a constructive conversation with me. He just sees a Black guy coming in a BMW, two good-looking women that are young with long hair and like fit bodies staying in an Airbnb. And his brain literally goes to, you're filming a freaking porno in my backyard. I'm sorry, what? Like that's just disgusting. And for him to like stereotype me and to just judge me in 3 seconds like that after I was a very respectful guest, was very kind to him on the phone. I had actually texted him about something and was like very nice about it. Like, I don't know. It just didn't sit well with me because I'm like, this is really disgusting. Like, it's laughable. Like, you are going to just go there. Like, you say you're this Christian and this like great person and you have a family. And I could be judging you because you're allowing strangers in your backyard to stay in your guest house when you have little kids running around. I mean, that doesn't seem safe to me. These are total strangers. But who am I to judge your life and how you live it and what you think is okay and isn't? But for you to judge me and my professional business and a professional that I hired to come in here and film me and to disappoint me and to disrespect him and to judge my friend and yell at her like you're her dad when you don't even know her. First of all, you're way too freaking involved as an Airbnb host. Dude, what? I've never stayed in an Airbnb and the owner comes and checks in on me or like talks to me. It was very odd. And like, but again, I'm not going to judge you for how you want to run your business. So don't judge me for how I run mine. Like, I would understand if you were genuinely concerned and you're like, whoa, why are these people in my backyard doing this or something? But all you had to do was call me or like come talk to me or something. But you just scream at my guest coming. You scream at my best friend. You insult me like that. Like it's disgusting. It's like literally disgusting. And so I wanted to talk about this because not only was it just like a total shock to me, but I feel like there's a lot we can extrapolate from this because it reminds me to not be a judgmental person. I know there's people online that like to think that I'm a judgmental human being, but I really am not. I don't judge anybody. Like, if it doesn't affect me, I'm gonna let you live your life. People are always judging me, and I know how shitty that feels. And when you judge people and you show up that way, they're gonna show up that way for you too. So I'm not gonna walk around judging people because I don't want them to do that to me, especially the close people in my life. And so I just think I could talk about a lot of different things involving this, like I could go down the rabbit hole of like being a woman and struggling to make a name for myself and be taken seriously. Because my entire life, that's what I've struggled with. I have a successful skincare business. People act like I don't even own a business. They act like I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not a business owner because I'm a female and I don't wear like a business suit every day. And because I'm also a mom, like I get shamed all the time for being a mom that is the breadwinner, for being a mom that works, for being a mom that likes to have a social life. Like, why are we judging people for everything they do? And then now I go to this place, spend money, time, and energy to go interview a celebrity and am doing something beneficial for myself and for other people. That like that message that we had on that podcast, I feel like can resonate with so many people. And I'm still being attacked and being told I'm this scum. And that like you literally think that that's all I am, that I'm a freaking porn star. Which like, to each their own. If that's what you want to do, great. But like, don't tell me I'm something I'm not. This is why you need to think twice before you stereotype or judge anybody. Because you could be wrong and you could really offend somebody and you could hurt the wrong person. And words do hurt. I mean, I would be lying if I said that him calling me a porn star didn't hurt me. It definitely made me think to myself, like, do I come off that way? Do I wear like too small of clothing? Like, do I look like someone that is that way? And like, it just makes you question yourself, when people throw that on you. And it's just unfair. Like, there's no reason to do that. And when you really think about people who judge, 99% of the time they're judging you because they envy you. And so they think that just like labeling you as something is going to make them feel better. Or they like really, really get triggered by the success you have or the things that you have. And so they go and judge you like, oh, well, she's really successful, but she's a bitch. Or she's really successful, but she didn't earn it. Like, people do that to like downplay who you really are because they can't handle that you're successful, that you're happy, that you're pretty, that you're whatever you are. So like, don't do it. It's not a good look. And look what happened when this guy judged us. Like, we could have had a partnership. I could have shouted out his Airbnb. I could have worked together with him. I could have had a great experience, left him a great review. I still haven't even left a review because I want to just ream him and like tear him apart. But I'm too afraid to do that because I don't like hurting people, even though he hurt me. And like, I could have supported him and tagged him and like told people to go to this Airbnb if they go to Charlotte. But now I'm going to be telling everyone not to because he judged me. And you don't forget that. When people judge you and like make those kind of comments, you don't forget that. So the price we pay for judging others is you might gain acceptance from like a group, like you're in a friend group and you're talking to your friends and this girl walks in and you judge her and you guys all laugh together. Like, cool, you're now accepted because you said something funny that was judgmental about that person that like could be true, but you don't know if it is. But on the other end of that, now you look like someone who walks around judging people because that's what you're doing. And then your friends over time might not trust you because they're like, oh, well, remember when we were out and she judged that girl? Like, what if she's judging me when she's not with me? Or what if she's judging my friends or my family? Like, it's not a good feeling to like plant into someone's head. So just don't do it. And you might also gain control. I do think that's a big reason why people judge, because they can gain this sort of control, but you also lose out on trust from other people because yeah, you might have the upper hand because you kind of bullied that person by judging them and assuming something out of them. But then the trust piece is gone because instead of making your own formulated like thought out of something, you just went straight for, oh, well, they must be this way. And then people don't trust you because if they don't think you're going to take the time to really get to know them, why are they going to believe that you are going to ever try to figure that out? Like they think you're just going to jump to conclusions, and that's not a good feeling. And another thing I think that people do when they judge is they try to get this like temporary relief for like self-fulfillment to like feel better about themselves. But in the long run, you just end up feeling worse about yourself because you're doing it and it's negative and you know it's not nice. And over time, that's gonna break you down. Like nobody wants to be a crappy person. And when you're judging people, like it doesn't feel good and you're gonna end up like not feeling good about who you are and what you present to this world. So people that are always tossing out judgment and tossing out criticisms, they don't love themselves deep down. They really don't. So don't be that person. And if you are that person, think inward. Like, is there something that I hate about myself that I see in this person? Maybe I should stop and think. And I know it's something that like we all have to work on because it is human nature to judge. It's a safety mechanism, right? Like it's a way of like determining like, is this person gonna be safe? Is this person not? Like, are we good? Are we in threat? Are we being threatened right now? Like I understand the core of it, but to try and open up your heart and not be so quick to judge people or to jump to conclusions when you genuinely do not know the facts, that's huge. And that's something we all need to work on. I could be better, you could be better, we all could be better. And it's something that I would love to see more of because I'm seriously sick of people judging me when they don't even know who I am. And this story was enough for me to just get pissed off because I take a lot of pride in how I carry myself and who I am. And for this person who doesn't even know me to claim such outlandish things about me, that takes a lot of balls, and that's also just really, really gross. So I'm taking from this that I don't want to feel, or I don't want to make someone else feel how I feel because it's not a good feeling. And I'm going to make sure that I don't judge people so quickly because it's so important that we show love and that we get to know someone for who they really are, not for how they look like on the outside, not for what we know from our past. That's not fair. That's not fair to anybody. So if you've been judged or had a crazy situation like this, definitely get a hold of me and let me know because I would love to hear, because I think we can all learn a great lesson from this, and we just need to not be judgmental, okay? No judge Judies, as my friend Kaitlyn would say. So thanks for listening. Until next time, be loud, be proud, and be shameless. Visit us at anskinbeauty.com to shop all of our medical grade skincare.